Discussion keeps the world turning.
This is Roundtable.
In early June 2026, a first-of-its-kind departure slipped out of Shanghai, the Adora Magic City. China's own mega cruise steamed straight for open water, no foreign dock in sight, and then it doubled back to where it began. No islands, no city breaks, just 3 days, 2 nights, and nothing but sea. They're calling it a voyage to nowhere, and travelers are all in. They are lining up. So what's the draw, and why is this non-trip becoming the most buzzed about experiment in China's tourism scene right now? Coming to you live from our studios in Beijing, this is Roundtable. I'm Steve Hatherley. Thanks for being with us today. And for the show, I'm with Fei Fei and Yushan. First up, in early June of this year, something unusual set sail from Shanghai, the Adora Magic City, China's first domestically built large cruise ship. It left port, not bound for another country, but heading straight into open waters and then turning around and coming back to where it started. No stopovers, no sightseeing ports, just 3 days and 2 nights at sea. It's called a cruise to nowhere, and tourists are loving it. So what does this trip mean, and why does the very idea of a vacation like this suddenly becoming one of the most talked about experiments in China's tourism industry? Yushan and Fei Fei, good afternoon to you. Have you ever been on a cruise before to take a break from your regular life?
Nope.
No, not for me as well.
I have. I've been on a week-long cruise. It was a long time ago. I was 18 years old, and my parents bought it for us for our family Christmas vacation. So I'll share a little bit about that experience a bit later on. But that cruise was not a cruise to nowhere. This one from Shanghai is. So let's talk about that first.
Yeah, it happened actually just on June the 6th, which is also the China's first ever voyage of this kind. It's called the Cruise to Nowhere. So basically, you hop on to that ship that Steve mentioned, the Adora Magic City, and it departs from and also returns to Shanghai's Wusongkou International Cruise Terminal. And you spend basically the entire 3-day and 2-night weekend journey on the high seas without any stopovers on any potential terminals or ports along China or internationally. So basically, you start from Shanghai and return back to Shanghai, and it literally goes into international oceans and doesn't stop until it gets back.
Yeah.
So it's you hop on it on Friday evening at 11 p.m. and then gets back on 10 a.m. on the Monday morning. It doesn't really cost you much to be on one of these tours, I suppose.
The timing is significant. Maybe we'll touch on that a little bit later. But it allows for people to enjoy the weekend without having to arrange a full-on vacation from work. This happened in China for the very first time. Not the first cruise, but the first cruise to nowhere.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it also is more like a very massive and luxury resort on the ocean that, especially for Chinese tourists, you don't have to apply for a visa. So the clearance procedure going in and out of the customs would be very simple and also affordable. And also you don't have to call in, when it comes to joining a cruise ship, especially for Chinese travelers, that can be a big commitment because normally that's not within the Chinese mainland area. You need to go to another country and then you need to call for leaves for at least a week long.
Yep. And
that can be kind of a big commitment because you need to think about your work schedule, your family schedule, and the expenses, and so on and so forth.
And then you have to make sure you have the proper documentation when you're entering into another country. But for a cruise to nowhere that leaves Shanghai and comes back to Shanghai without stopping anywhere else, all of those things are avoided.
Yes, and also it's very affordable. For instance, for the classic balcony rooms, it prices varies from more than 900 yuan to 2,300 yuan. So it's not, and also they have offering the buffet, the 3 meals are included, unless you want to enjoy the more luxurious specialty restaurants.
So that's how the prices are divided, huh? So you pay a flat fee somewhere between 900 and almost 3,000. And that will get you your room for 2 nights. It will get you access to certain foods on the boat, meaning you will be fed. But if you want to go higher end food, then you're going to pay extra for that. Obviously, if you do any shopping or buy anything, you're going to be paying extra for that as well.
Right.
But you are indeed paying for a package then.
Yeah. And also, if you're on a diet, then and also purchase ticket for this cruise travel, then you kind of need to give it up, at least while you're on board, because the food can be found literally whenever you want it to be. So the restaurants on board and also all dining venues, they have been kept on opening around the clock. So continuous food service are available, and it's also made to be a key feature of the cruise as well.
Yeah, right. If you wake up in the middle of the night and you find yourself a little peckish, don't worry. You can go get some food somewhere,
Right.
and it's probably included in your package. All right. So when you get on this boat, what can you do? What types of activities are there?
There's all possible things that you can imagine that can happen on a cruise voyage. So there are, for this particular one on Adora Magic City, there are stand-up comedy shows that has been scheduled alongside magic performances designed for family audiences as well. So there are also themed parties like rooftop cocktail party, the social dance events, art exhibition, and children's little playground. And there's also a maritime movie festival featuring red carpet style screening and classic films, even a 3 versus 3 basketball match. Can you imagine?
Fun.
That's going on earlier this June on that boat. They have all been organized across different decks to create this dynamic social atmosphere on the sea during that trip that you don't need to travel too far for.
Yeah, and so they put these types of events all over the boat. If you haven't seen the boat, you can easily just do a quick internet search, but it's massive. I think it has 9 decks in total.
Right.
It's not a new ship, by the way. It's not brand new.
Yeah.
This type of cruise is brand new, but the ship is at least a few years old, I think.
I think it was launched. Well, it was launched in 2024. In the early of 2024, the Adora Magic City is because it's China's first domestically built cruise ship. It can boast more than 5,000 passengers, and also they need 1,300 crew members to keep the ship running smoothly. So it's a massive boat. In comparison, for example, the world's largest cruise ship by Royal Caribbean, it can boast more than 7,000 passengers. So you can see it's still a pretty big cruise.
It's big, and when you look at the ship, when you're standing next to it, it's kind of hard to wrap your brain around like how big these boats are. And when you get on it, you can get lost very easily because there are so many different floors, and there's no empty space. It's completely filled to capacity with shops and restaurants and different things to do. And the cool thing is, you just described it, I think, Yushan, is that they're having these types of fun events on different decks, right, on different levels of the boat. And what that means is that you're never really far away from doing something fun.
Yeah, and also you mentioned something very important, Steve, the occupancy level. That's something that's taken into consideration regarding the June case too. For this particular voyage, over 4,000 passengers boarded. And that number is kind of calculated because they try to keep the occupancy level limited to around 80% of total capacity in order to improve onboard comfort, so that you don't need to wait in the queue for overly too long in order to get into a restaurant or try to play basketball or try on any devices and facilities.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Steve, I also have this question. You know, I've never been on a cruise ship before, and you described as a very massive place. It's called a city for a reason, I guess. So how would you navigate among, for example, 9 decks with different activities and restaurants and your rooms and buffet rooms and so on and so forth?
If I remember correctly, when you get on the boat, you are given a map of the boat.
Or you need a map.
I'm sure it's different for every cruise, but yeah, you need a map to know where stuff is. And then if I remember correctly, when you get on, it depends on how long you're going for. Maybe for this one, because it's relatively short, it's only a couple of nights. Maybe there's not an orientation day, but ours was a week long. So one of the first things we did as passengers was we had to go and listen to an orientation speech kind of describing about, like, I don't know, boat safety and little things that the passengers need to know as well. But I think that all depends on the cruise itself.
And that explains sort of why the boat is also equipped with smart technologies such as AI-assisted boarding system and service robots. I guess that would be serves as navigation maps when you are at the sea and feeling a bit lost on this massive ship.
It's easy. It's easy sometimes to get lost, but it's not really stressful. Because it's part of the fun in some way.
And I think, Fei Fei, you mentioned that this trip doesn't require a visa, but it does require one document for Chinese passengers just to be on board. That's called I'm translating it literally, entry-exit permit for no destination sea tour. That's brand new. That's got freshly rolled out at June the 5th this year. Only in Shanghai so far, but I'm sure it's going to expand to many more other cities in the future. So with this very permit, travelers, you can enjoy a short cruise getaway without needing to apply for a visa. And the permit is valid for 3 months and cost only 15 yuan. So that's far less than a passport.
What purpose do you think this serves? I mean, this kind of trip, because it's brand new, right? And that means that they designed it trying to fill a gap, perhaps, that exists in the market. So might that gap be the short distance, short haul vacation, meaning it doesn't take too long and you don't have to go too far?
Yeah, especially when it comes to a port city like Shanghai. That I think we talked about before that when it comes to cruise trips, that means a big commitment. But now I think they're trying, in China at least, they're trying to find this short distance tourism market, especially for port cities, so that travelers not only here in the port city itself, but also all around the country, they can sort of think about thinking of less challenging factors inside it. It's something that you can just start to think about booking for maybe one calling in for a holiday for one extra day at work, then you can have a longer weekend. That's as simple as that.
Yeah,
Right.
So if the boat leaves at 11 p.m. from Shanghai on Friday night,
You don't even have to call.
that gives you plenty of time to get from the office to the boat, or to Shanghai
Yes.
and to the boat, depending on where you're coming from. The Monday morning thing is a little bit complicated. I guess you'd have to take at least a half day off of work.
Yeah,
But
that
it's
would
not,
make sense.
Yeah, but it's not like a huge thing
Yeah.
that you need to think of.
Or take the day off and go back on Tuesday. And I think that's the gap we're talking about here, right? Is that micro vacation.
Yeah, but also on the affordability of how trips are made to be nowadays, because there's one very interesting observation regarding the very lately rolled out trips, which is the average age of passengers. That's dropped noticeably for this particular voyage. So with travelers aged 31 to 45 emerging as one of the fastest growing customer groups on board. So the pricing is designed to attract a wider range of travelers, including young professionals like you and me, Fei Fei, since we've never tried.
Why was I excluded from that
Because
list?
you've already tried it before. It's a new step for us.
Yeah, the people like us who's never tried before and who kind of can't afford to leave for a massive long period of time, like a week or two, but also interested to be on one. And I'm not sure if I've mentioned this to you guys previously, but as far as I can recall, the image of traveling on a cruise voyage like this has always remained to be a luxurious experience, meaning
rich and old.
Yeah.
Well, that's
Well.
that's what it is in the West. Not anymore, because now the demographics are changing in America too. There was a study, actually the study was done from the UK, cruise.co.uk, and they looked at 500,000 passengers and it showed that for bookings made in 2024, the average age was 55 years old compared to 66 years old in 2019. And I think in America, those same numbers from the same year, it went down to 42 years old. So, yeah, but yes, the stigma or the stereotype with cruises or cruising was that it's for wealthy people and it's for old people.
Exactly. That's also the image here in China. If you go on a whole week trip like that, it's like something to get other people jealous for and thinking, wow, that's so luxurious. But now it's about time that we break that image and transform it to something fancy, but also accessible to people.
Yeah, I think you bring up a good point, too, where I guess it can be a little bit intimidating because it's not your standard vacation. Right?
Yes.
It's not a typical vacation. It's kind of something weird almost. Because you just, what I mean is you don't hear people say it very often.
Oh, I went on a cruise voyage on during the weekend.
It's not something you would be brag about to your friends or something.
No, it's not that. I mean, like, you hear people say, like, oh, I went to Thailand to the beach for a couple of days, or I went to London for a week and toured around Europe, and I did that. But you don't often hear people say, oh, my family went on a cruise together. I'm trying to say it's kind of niche.
Yes.
But that is changing now. Here are some stats from 2025. January to November, China's cruise passenger volume reached 1.265 million people. Okay, why is that important? It's important because it's a 28% increase from the year before.
And and also here in China, it used to be part of the silver economy. I think a lot for my mom and her friends, they were pushed by similar advertisements all the time when it comes to, you're a retiree,
right.
So maybe
you've got
cruise,
the time,
is a better choice for you. But now I think there is also a rapid growth among Gen Zers and young families that we view cruises as mobile resorts. That's why it's called city, and social entertainment spaces. I think it sort of makes sense when you're thinking about, especially as a parent, going on a vacation with a 2-year-old is something very different than going on yourself or with your friends, because for a parent, all you can think of is leisure-free, is trying to be as relaxed as possible and stress-free. And I think cruises, everything is included, everything is set, where it is. For example, this Magic City one, they have family spaces and you know exactly where you can put your kids and where you can enjoy yourself here. And so I think this is translating into something as stress-free vacation options for families and young parents, and even for young people who are thinking about, I just need a small getaway and I'm tired of just going to the same suburban vacation destinations all the time.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the not difficulties, but one of the challenges maybe that cruise ships face is that, I forgot to finish my thought before Yushan, about what you were saying about how it's a chance for people to try it. Because that's what I meant to say, is that it can be a little bit intimidating because it is so niche that people don't really know about it. But a little 2-night getaway from Shanghai where you don't have to stop anywhere and you just go and come back, it's a really nice introduction to that style of vacation.
Yeah.
But to your point, Fei Fei, about, people get a little bit sick of going to we're going to go to the beach again. Well, poor you, but we've done this before. What can we do differently? So that's a challenge that cruise lines face, in the sense that once you've done it, you might feel like, I've done that Shanghai cruise. I know what it is. I know what events are there. I know what activities are there. I don't need to do that again. And I think a good way to get around a problem like that is to have themed cruises.
Right.
I know that different cruise lines in the world have singles cruises.
Oh, for single people only?
Yep, no married people allowed. They have no children cruises. They have seniors cruises. They have that's what we did. We did a family cruise for a week. So the family cruise, we were at dinner time in the big, like, Titanic style ballroom, matched with a family from Texas. And they had the same number of children. They had 3 children, and we were all similar ages. So the cruise ship arranged that for us to sit and have dinner together each night. And it was a cool kind of thing. All the activities were family oriented and stuff like that. I would really encourage people to go on a cruise. If you ever have the opportunity, do some research, find out the style that's right for you. It's a whole lot of fun. It is a tremendous amount of fun. And I think if you're not familiar with it, this boat from Shanghai would be a wonderful introduction to it at what seems like a very reasonable price. So the first one was this June. When's the next one, by the way?
I think it's in Guangzhou.
End of this year, right?
Yes. They have the same company. Adora has another cruise ship called Adora Flora City. That's departs in Guangzhou, and also it comes back to Guangzhou later this year. So it's for somebody who's trying, curious about what a cruise journey looks like. That one will be a good opportunity as well.
On our first night on the cruise, I won a limbo contest.
What's the limbo contest?
That's where they hold the stick, and then you have to walk up to the stick and kind of bend down backwards and then try to get under the stick without it touching your chest or your face. I won.
What's the prize for winning?
I don't remember. I was 18 years old, but I remember that I won. I just remember that I think it was fruits or something like that. But anyway, yeah, if you ever have the chance, go and check out a cruise. Again, great for families, great for friends, great for couples too. I know that they have those types of cruises as well.